Well, thank you very much. I mean, thank you, Ambassador, the High Commissioner. I realise I'm now the fourth speaker, and you have not yet begun your dinner, so I'm not going to take too much of your time if I possibly can. I want to thank you particularly, and the High Commissioner, and everybody who was involved in helping to prepare that trip. I'm a bit nervous, really, standing before an audience of very keen, forensic Indian journalists, such as advertised are here tonight, because you've expressly asked me to talk about that trip, when we all know that if there is one thing that the London public really hates, it is the idea that their taxpayer-funded representatives have been sunning themselves in exotic locations on a jolly or freebie or junket or boondoggle of any description. But I can't deceive you. You all know it was in the papers. As High Commissioner has said, we did go to India, and we had a fantastic trip. And I played cricket on the beach at Mumbai. I hobnobbed with gorgeous Bollywood stars, such as I didn't know existed. My accommodation, thanks to the Taj Hotel, by the way. Thank you, Taj Hotel. I think you're entertaining us tonight as well. Is that all right? Thank you very much. My accommodation was so extraordinarily over the top that I had an honour guard of 6 riflemen outside my door. It took me about half an hour to turn the light off at night, all the lights off at night in my presidential suite, and I couldn't remember which one of the bathrooms contained my toothpaste. So thank you very much for your splendid hospitality. And I know that everything I've said will incite the jealousy and rage of the London electorate were it to get out. But I think that what I did, I think it was the right thing to go to India, don't you? I think it was the right thing for the Mayor of London to go, right and necessary, because well, not just because I'm proud to say, in a not particularly hotly contested field, I am the first and only Mayor of London to have real live relatives in India. But I do. And I am the veteran of many a Cecil B. DeMille style Punjabi family wedding in India, complete with, the light bulb, motorbike, which I specialise, and which Jitesh has heard about many times before. It was right to go also. I can't claim I've given the game away. I did stay at the Taj Hotel. I didn't stay exclusively with my relatives because it wasn't always possible. But it was a very, very cheap trip by comparison. I mean, it was 25 grand for a huge number of big business delegation, very distinguished business delegation, led by my friend Jitesh Gadge, who is here, and I think you would agree, Jitesh, a pretty stellar cast of others, plus our team from City Hall, compared to the £750,000 of taxpayers' money that was lavished on the previous venture by another mayor from a different party whose name I will not divulge to spare him his blushes. And I think it was right to go, basically, my friends, because I think the mission did deliver for London. And we came back, as we were there were loads of very exciting deals that were obviously making progress. I think hotels, the purchase of several hotels was announced, a university campus. I'm not quite sure what happened to that, but we're pursuing it actively. Tech firms of one kind or another, Zara's, several others, announced that they were coming to London. We are pursuing about 15 deals of one kind or another, involving about 1,000 jobs. And we were simultaneously able to help London firms, UK businesses, to pursue their contacts in India. And for me, to build up partnerships. And that was really the most extraordinary thing about the trip. It was discovering the fusion, the syncresis, or whatever, that's a sufficiently pompous word. Syncresis. I think that's what I see in the relationship between Britain and India. I mean, the first thing that happened when we arrived, crack of dawn, sun wasn't even up, driving from the airport, what exotic beast do I see blocking our path as we go in from the airport? It wasn't a monkey, it wasn't a snake, It wasn't an elephant, it wasn't a cow, it was a giant black cat. Seen there in the middle of the road, right at traffic lights, bones of brass. It was a jaguar. It was a jaguar. And it was an extraordinary thing. Well, literally, and I'm not, you'll testify this. It was one of the first things, and I thought, what an amazing thing. There it is, an old, great motoring mark, revived by a fantastic Indian corporation, rejuvenated, revitalized. I think I'm right in saying now that JLR is now making as much in profit as it cost Tata to buy it back into the from Robert Shane. So this is an amazing testament to that business venture. And look at that machine, made in somewhere near Birmingham, isn't it? Where is it? Just remind me. Castle Bromwich. Thank you, Castle Bromwich. Made in Castle Bromwich, exported to India, where it was being driven at 4:30 in the morning by a peak cap chauffeur with a kind of starlet in the back. I don't know what she was doing at 4:30 in the morning, being driven around. And I thought that was synchrosis. And then again, I saw great big yellow gigantic JCBs, owned by a British company, designed by a British company, but being made in India and exported around Asia. And I think, am I right in thinking that when we went to Hyderabad, we saw, what's the name of that company? What were the name of the guys? The signalling. The signalling guys. What are they called? We saw the signalling guys, I mean, this is absolutely true, who were doing the signalling for the London Underground. I mean, it wasn't just because it was cheaper to do it in Hyderabad. They were doing it because that was where they had the intellectual firepower, frankly, to do it. And I owe that company a huge debt of gratitude, because not only did they get the Jubilee line running 3 miles an hour faster than it was when I was elected during the London Olympic Games, they probably saved my bacon and got me re-elected in 2012. So I am deeply grateful. And simultaneously, on the other side of the ledger, I saw how Serco, a London firm, I think, are you here tonight, Serco? No, never mind. They were right there in India with us. Serco got a contract to run the buses in Indore. I think there are various other deals that are being done now between Serco and Indian transport concerns. And that is what we need to encourage and to build. Partnerships between Indian firms and great British businesses. And to do that, I think you need to get several things right. You've got to make sure that UK firms are bolder about the Indian market, and it's pretty clear to me that we need to be even more positive in getting out there. And I felt it was very important, talking to some of the excellent diplomatic staff that I met there, that we were up there competing with the French and the German. I didn't feel sometimes that we were really doing everything that we could do to get those contracts. And symmetrically, we need to be even more enthusiastic and welcoming in getting Indian professionals to come here to this country. And one thing that people mentioned time and again was visas. And I hope we're making some progress over visas. I will make some progress over visas. Everybody give me a glove.
Yes, say
yes.
Same day visas for business.
Thank you, Shailesh. Shailesh has government policy at his fingertips. I think I'm right in saying we now have same-day visas for business people to come to this country. That's an important thing. I want to make sure that we are open and welcoming. And by the way, I think it'd be a good thing if we had more, if we had better aviation capacity and we were able to, we had more flights to India. Frankly, one of the things I want to do is to make sure we expand our airport and have a serious four-runway hub airport of the kind that I saw in several Indian cities where in India are expanding your aviation capacity in a way that we in London, frankly, need to catch up with. And I think the most important thing to do in making sure that we continue to build these partnerships is to continue to improve the quality of life for people from India living in London. And I was very flattered and touched by how popular London seemed to be with people from India. Am I right in thinking that it seems to have a good image in people's hearts? And we want to encourage that, and I think, have taken some important steps to achieve that. Crime, for instance, is down substantially over the last 4 or 5 years, to pick a period entirely at random, 13%. The murder rate is down to levels we haven't seen since the 1960s. We are putting huge sums of investment into our transport system, which is, I think, thanks very largely, of course, to Indian software analysts, is improving radically, and we're not only putting better signaling on the tube, we're putting air conditioning on the tube. 40% of the tube will have air conditioning as well. We have a wonderful, that's maybe the subsurface, and we can't put it on deep tube lines until someone invents a solution for that. We're putting in Crossrail, the largest engineering project in Europe, going to add 10% to the rail capacity of London, a massive improvement for our city. All sorts of things to make London easier and more pleasant to live in and move around. Bicycles, Barclays, I met someone from Barclays just now. Well, thank you, Barclays. Was that a ripple of applause for Barclays? They deserve it. Thank you, Barclays, for £50 million for the bicycles. Thank you for what you are doing. And I think it's that agglomeration of things: improvements in quality of life, falls in crime, stable, low taxes, or certainly low taxes from the mayor, cut taxes continuously over the last 4 years. That kind of thing persuades people to want to come and live in London. We've got the right time zone, we've got the right language, and when an Indian mobile phone company wants to buy an African mobile phone company, as I discovered at the Mumbai stock exchange, they do it in London. Am I right? When Barty bought Zain, they did it through London, because London has a reputation for being the right kind of place to do that sort of big transaction, because we have a very, very highly developed financial services sector, still the biggest in the world, in spite of everything we've been through, and a reputation for upholding the rule of law. And I think it's a testament to the fidelity, the extreme fidelity of the British people to the rule of law, that we actually lock up our MPs if they try to pass their speeding points to their wives. Quite a remarkable thing. So let me ask you, in conclusion, and I think all those things are very, very important, and they add up to immense attractions for our city. And I think there's one thing that other speakers tonight have been kind enough to mention, which was the Olympic and Paralympic Games, which we hosted last year, which I do think went very well. But what do you think was the single best and most gripping thing about those games from the point of view of international investors? Was it the fact that the security guards finally turned up, having exhausted all other alternatives from whatever they were doing, short order chefs in Mexico or Cornish Hospital? What was it there? Was it the police? They did a good job too. Was it the weather? The weather was good, wasn't it? By our standards. Was it the fact that the Indian team did better than ever before? Which it did, I'm right in saying. Was it the fact that Team GB and Paralympics GB got more medals per head than any other country per capita? A statistic that is so far uncontradicted for almost a year. Checked it. Was it even that symbol of the syncresis between London and India? What stood at the heart of the London Games? Can you remember? Do you have it seared on your mental retinas?
The sculpture.
The sculpture. What was it called though? It wasn't just a sculpture. The ArcelorMittal Orbit, the single most baffling representation of a giant Newton trombone ever produced, or whatever it was. Actually, it is proving still remarkably popular, and we have 17,000 people who have booked to go up in the next few weeks, and even before the park reopens. But even the ArcelorMittal Orbit, I venture to suggest, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't the most wonderful thing about London Games. The most wonderful thing about London Games was that everybody tuned in around the world and they looked at a city that was incredibly diverse and welcoming and dynamic, and they thought it was a culture that they wanted to belong to. You know, they understood it, and that was the most remarkable thing about our London Games. And I'm, as the humble, proud mayor of London, a mere toenail in the body politic, contrary to what Lord Paul was kind enough to say. I'm incredibly proud of the way our city is functioning and the dynamism of Londoners. And let me tell you, all you potential investors from India, from that amazing dynamic economy, all you who are seeking partnerships with Londoners, you have come to the right place, because you will find a population that, in spite of real difficulties throughout the economic downturn, is coming up with quite extraordinary business opportunities. And we are exporting, to my certain knowledge now, this week from London, we are exporting bicycles made in London from Chile all the way to Holland. We are exporting cake made in the London borough of Waltham Forest to France. We are exporting tea from Sutton to China. We are exporting TV antennas from, where is it again? Wandsworth, TV antennas in Wandsworth all the way to Korea. We've exported David Beckham to Paris. We've exported Piers Morgan to America, I might say. And you know this is true. I've said it before, and my speeches at this point attain a kind of liturgical quality. I believe in repeating them so that people can mumble them to their sleep, so that you know them almost like in a prayer-like way. London exports not just tea to China and bikes to Holland and cakes to France and TV antennas to Korea. It exports rice milled in the London borough of Havering to India, my friends. Isn't that a quite stunning thing? And what a dynamic economy! What an amazing performance by our city. Thank you very much, members of the Indian Journalists Association in London, for all your excellent, and I have no doubt, faithful and accurate reporting about the wonderful things that are going on in this great city that you are conveying to a readership and an audience in what is not only the greatest, the biggest democracy on earth, but also, of course, the fastest growing market for the English language. And speaking as somebody who makes quite a lot of money by writing in English, I can't say what a wonderful prospect that is. Thank you very, very much for everything you do to convey, and I think you must be saying some kind things about London, because all the evidence I have from talking to my Indian friends is they want to come here all the more. Thank you for what you're doing, thank you for what you're saying, and above all, thank you very much for having me along and listening tonight, and have a great evening. Thank you.